Oh, we are.
And now we are indeed live.
And we're live on Clubhouse too.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Well,
we
good
are.
evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. As I like to say, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching this fabulous live around the world. I'm Dee Bowden, and I'm here with the fabulous Donna Smith Bellinger for
This is the
our.
first time I've been introduced on my own thing.
I know, right? I just figured I would have some fun with it. So listen, we're here. I'm Dee Bowden, and I'm here with the fabulous Donna Smith Bellinger. I'm gonna let her take control in a second, but listen, we're here for conversations and collaboration. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday evening, happy spring. Raise your glass. We about to raise some glasses up in here,
We've
up
been
in.
raising a couple of, yeah, we're doing a little bit of things here. It's been an interesting day. Dee is coming to us straight off of speaking at Howard University. That's the one really awesome thing about being virtual right now. I know we so much miss certain aspects of being live, but the ability to be in the UK and then go to Florida and then go to San Francisco and then go to Howard and all of these other things that Dee's been doing, which are absolutely fabulous. So, as she said, I am Donna Smith Bellinger, and we welcome you to this broadcast and this simulcast. All you lovely people on Clubhouse, thank you so much for following and playing along with us. We are going to be talking today, though, about a subject that's near and dear to a lot of hearts. Money, 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 money. Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about because Dee has a new book out called Collect the Cash. And for those of you who have ever done business with the government, okay, so for those of you who've ever done business with the government, you feel the pain. And there are a few other groups that you may, large corporations and others that have these interesting payment cycles. One of the things that I'm just trying to call it like it is, they have these interesting payment cycles. And so, one of the things that I encountered when I had my tech business is you're expected to deliver according to the terms of your contract, but you get paid eventually. It's like wimpy. I'll gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today. And they always, you remember that one? That's from
Child, I deal with.
Popeye.
Listen, I deal with that every day.
Yeah, and that was from Popeye, and Wimpy was with Popeye. For those of you who were like, "What is she talking about?"
Uh-huh.
So when we would deal with municipalities, any type of government entity, sometimes it got a bit interesting to get paid. And you don't have the ability to take your stuff back.
Nope,
And
not at all.
particularly if it's a professional service, you've already delivered it.
Hmm.
It's already done. We've created the app, we've created the process. With my firm, if you think back, I guess about 8 to 10 years ago in Chicago, we had something that was created to allow you to pay your water bills and your parking tickets on a kiosk.
Hmm.
And my company was involved in creating the data security for that.
Oh
So
wow.
we made sure that that it was PCI compliant. So once we did that, yeah, no, really, we need to get paid for this. Thank you, because we had to hire subcontractors, we had to hire extra hands. We pulled a lot of late nights. There was a bunch of stuff involved in that. Howsoever, then you start to get the real sad stories, on why they can't pay you on time. And Dee's going to be addressing that. So I'm stretching this out just for 2 seconds because I want you to reach out to whomever you know who has had trouble getting paid for services rendered, because this is a conversation for you. This is definitely a conversation. So if you've got a friend, relative, nephew, niece, cousin who has that little tech business that they're working on, and we're small, but we're mighty. I know what that's like. You're a sales team of one, you are creating these deals, you land the deal. Excuse me, can I get paid now? Please, sir, may I have some
please
more?
and thank you. Please and thank you.
Please and thank
look
you.
here, and hurry up and do it.
And so Dee, get your people in, get your people in. So Dee is going to be working with us to get this handled today. I first interviewed Dee when the book was in its infancy, and now she has birthed it.
Yes.
And she's on the road with this, and she has so many people who are so excited to see her in this space. So Dee, talk a little bit about what got you into this journey, because your beginning story is fabulous.
Well, let me say this. First of all, Donna, thank you so very much for the opportunity to be here and to your listening audience around the world. I'm so excited to be here. So how did I get into what had happened was in collections? So what had happened was I used to work for a small IT company. Well, actually, before I get into the story, let me tell you who I am. I'm Dee Bowden. I'm the founder of BCS Solutions. I'm originally from Boston. I now live in Maryland. Fun facts about me. I love Ferris wheels, smooth jazz, and absolutely love red wine. Red blends in particular are my sweet spot. So how did I get into what had happened was with collections, especially in the business to business, business to corporation, and business to government space? The story goes like this. About 15 years ago, I used to work for a small IT company outside of Boston, actually where I'm from. You know how it is when you get hired for a company. They welcome aboard. Here's your cubicle. Here's your box. Here's your plant. Here's where you're going to sit. These are your teammates. And you, Dee Bowden, have been selected to recover these accounts. But they didn't. So when I got hired, they said, oh, we need a part-time collector. Okay, I get hired, work Monday through Friday, 4 to 8. Here's your cube. Here's your list of accounts. When they gave me my list of accounts, they kind of slid it in that there was $8 million worth of sales on the books, not in the bank. So they sold IT services, computers, software licenses, all kinds of things IT. But so they had sold them, and they're aging, their accounts receivable aging. The sales had happened, but the monies hadn't come in. So they were 30 days, 60 days, 90 days past due. They were $8 million in 90 days past due, and no plans and no clue on how to recover this. So I get my accounts. I sit down. I haven't been a believer, so my conversation with God went like this. Hey, God. Yes, Dee, how are you? You know what, God? Overall, I'm really good, but I got this $8 million problem, and according to you in the word, it says, if you lack wisdom, ask. So I'm going to ask you for a clue or a cue on what I'm supposed to do with recovering $8 million. So I got quiet, and what came up is that business-to-business collections is problem solving, customer service, and my secret sauce, which is gratitude. I said, interesting. So when you think about it, to what Donna already said, if you've already provided the professional services and or the products, and you're 30 days past due and they haven't paid you, that's a problem. You got to figure that out. You got to figure out what had happened was. Customer service is if you delivered the sneakers, the services, the products, and you've squared up in terms of what you delivered and they haven't paid you, you got a problem solve. Number two, customer service. All of us who are in business, whether you're a solopreneur or a major corporation or anything in between, the customer experience is everything, because on these internet streets, it takes 30 seconds for somebody to get on Facebook Live or Instagram and start hollering about something didn't go right. And then next thing you know,
I do that regularly, and right. I have gotten more free stuff.
Right. And if you've been working to build a relationship and build a reputation, it takes 30 seconds or less for everything you have built for years to be destroyed. So, and then the last thing was gratitude. And this is what sets me apart. Because most people are like, Dee, what does saying thank you have to do with collections, especially on the business to business side? It has everything to do with it, because here's the thing. When you work in corporate or deal with government agencies and you get somebody on the phone who takes your phone call, number one, who actually takes a few minutes to hear your story and then goes researches your contract, your invoice, and finds out where the payment got hung up in the system and gets it untangled and gets the button pushed so you can get paid. When you go back and tell them that person thank you, you set yourself apart. Because here's the thing, when they get into the weeds, whether it's on the government side or the corporation side to get you paid, that person deserves the gratitude. And when I learned how to go back and tell the person, thank you for taking my call, researching the issues with the payments and cutting the checks. And then when I started doing that, I did, in those three things, problem solving, customer service, gratitude, I collected $6 million in 60 days while working part-time. We started with 8, I got 6 in 60 days while working part-time. Now, The story changes when the CEO of the company says, listen, we need to have a chat. We all come downstairs. I'm thinking I'm getting a bonus. No. He comes downstairs and says, listen, I want to thank everybody across sales, contracts, order entry, order fulfillment, invoicing, and my lane collections. Appreciate everything you've done. We've made an executive decision. We're closing the business. You got 30 minutes to go pack up your box and your plant and leave the building 2 months before Christmas. So I get hired with $8 million of debt. I collect 6. The company shuts down. And as I told Donna, I said, this has bothered me. Now, this happened to me years ago, but it's the same principle because we just watched hundreds of companies go out of business last year in COVID because they had sales on the books, but they kept saying, "Oh, I'll get around to my collections. Oh, I'll get around to it." You cannot afford to get around to it because here's the thing: sales and accounts receivable collections, they go together. You got to sell something.
Together.
Huh? Say it again.
They totally go together.
They totally go together. You got to sell. You got to have a sale. You need to have a contract or agreement. You got to fulfill it. You got to invoice, and then you got to get paid. But sales and AR, they go together. And so I decided that once I recovered from what had happened, and then what are the lessons learned? I said, okay, so business collections was problem solving, customer service, and gratitude. Mm-hmm. I decided that I would teach business owners how to track their accounts. What are the steps you need to do to recover your money? How do you change the game? How do you build those relationships so that your payments come through on a regular basis? And if you get stuck, here are some tips and strategies to do that. And then Collect the Cash got born because I took a writing class and the teacher said, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, I recover money." "Well, how much money have you recovered?" So I tell the story and she was like, "What? You did that in 60 days? Yeah. And then part 2 was working for the United States Coast Guard headquarters and recovering $7.5 million in 1 year and being recognized by them as a cash recovery specialist. It's like, "Oh, you know how to collect money?" Yeah, that part I can. I did some other things I can't do, but recovering money for government agencies, corporations, businesses, yeah, figuring out the disconnects and getting you paid, I got that on lock. So that's how Collect the Cash came about.
I gotta say, for those of you who are following me, you all know I talk fast and I deliver a whole lot of stuff quickly. You see why? Let me do it this way. Do you see? Where is she? There. Do you see why I'm so in tune with this woman? Because we're just like rapid fire. Get your notebook out. Get ready. Put your questions, right in the chat right now. I know that you can't do that on Clubhouse, but on Facebook, I want it. I just need all of your questions. If you've been stumped, this is your chance to get a little bit of, how I was talking about Donna free, you get a little bit of D free, because this is so important. And this is not unique to collections. These are the same principles that help you to get your sales done as well. Yep. Being able to problem solve, being able to make the connection, being able to maintain the relationship, because at one point in time when I was working for an unnamed company that was so wonderful, I met my husband there. So that's the only reason I don't burn them in effigy whenever I think about them. But I had to call the same people so many times over and over again that I knew that they'd see me on the ID and like, "Oh, I want to answer this phone." But people would pick up my call. Why? Because high energy, problem solving, and it wasn't always pitch. It evolved into, "Hey, it's Donna. What can I do to make you look good today?" Yeah. And I just kind of fought, and they could hear the laugh in my voice. It's like, you know what I do already. So what can I do to make you look good today? How can I help you with what you've got to get done? So, Dee, what is rule number 1 on your don't do this list?
Okay. So rule number 1, when you're working to recover money, first of all, before you get on the phone to place your call for people who owe you money, double check your facts. Number 1, pull out your invoice. Let's start there, because sometimes the reason you haven't gotten paid is because, especially if you deal with government agencies or corporations, they have particulars that your invoice needs to be. You have the contract number, the period of performance, meaning when were you supposed to deliver it. They gave you specific instructions and prepare your invoice like this with the contract number, the period of performance, 10 sneakers at this cost, and it was supposed
Tax
to be
number, tax ID number, kick you back in heartbeat.
yeah, all basically. So the best, so the things not to do before you get on the phone to scream or holler about the fact you haven't gotten paid. First of all, did you prepare the proper invoice to the company? Let's start there. Start there. Number two, did you fulfill what you're billing them for? Did you do that part? Number three, did you send the invoice to the right department or the right person?
Yes, Lord.
That part. 4, did you confirm that they actually got the invoice? 5, before you start you haven't paid me, did you follow up to make sure that everything that was supposed to be done was done? 6, now you get on the phone with your information and you speak to accounts payable, and you want to start with a courtesy conversation before you start going in. It's, hi, I'm Dee. I'm from such and such company. Can I speak with the person in accounts payable, please? Hold on a second. Okay. Hi, my name is Dee, and I'm calling about contract number, blah, 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 invoice number, blah, 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 and the invoice is or was past due. Pause. Let them look it up in the computer. Let them pull up their screen. Oh, and another thing. Check your notes. Did you, if you took notes on the last phone call, did you address the notes from the last phone call? Did you, whatever they said was the issue was wrong, did you address that? Because part of this is, yes, it's weeds and yes, it's details, but it's no different on the back end of getting paid as it is on the front end of selling your services, because you still got to follow all the things they said to do. So when they tell you, yep, we didn't get your invoice, or it was missing a character or whatever, before you go left, thank them for telling you what's wrong, jot it down, make the notes, do the course correction, send back another invoice and mark it revised. And then follow up and thank them. When I keep talking about gratitude, as you see above my head, these are the tips that I know that work, because when people are seen and they're heard and they're recognized for their part in helping you get paid, people appreciate. I don't care what you do. People like being appreciated. They just do. And it does something for them. And when you can see that what they do matters, and you want to get paid, well, they want to help you. Most of the time they want to help you, but how you interact with them determines whether they help you quickly or whether they go, you know what, last time we talked, stuff went left, and I'm still not over that. And I'm just not.
I know that, I had a client that I worked with once, and he was so excited. We just landed our biggest deal. That's nice, but I can't get it started. Why not? Well, I can't get the things that I wanted to get. Did you write up a contract? Well, no, we had a handshake. Okay, fine. So who was the handshake with? The owner of the firm. Okay, that's a start. Did you find out what their billing process is? Do you know who's going to be processing your invoice? Do you know what their terms are?
Right.
Do you know who are the people in the chain of command for getting this thing approved? Because sending it in doesn't get it approved.
Nope.
Who has to sign off on it?
Yep.
And he says, I don't have any of that. Okay, honey, guess what? You don't have a sale.
No.
I don't care how much skin you all pressed.
Yeah.
And so that's on the sales side of it. But if the salesperson does their due diligence and covers as many bases as they know to cover, and the lessons learned are incorporated into what you're doing right now, you make it easier for someone like Dee. There's nobody like Dee, but you make it possible for someone in that capacity to not look stupid.
Well,
and a person like Dee doesn't want to be made to look stupid.
No, well, there's that part for sure, but there's also, especially if you're in the tech space, the telecom space, the software space, or even what other space. Like I said earlier, sales and AR, they go together. I believe, and part of my story is that learning how to build relationships across departments. I in my former company, I dealt with the sales guys and salespeople because they sold the IT services. I'm like, okay, so and when they tell you, when they start with the what had happened was, you already know there's a story. So I'm like, okay, so before I can go collect this money, what's the backstory? What do I need to know so that I can get on the phone and recover this money? Sometimes it's, sometimes it's as easy as building, finding out. I personally say it this way. When I talk about teaching business owners how to track things, I talk about all these factors. And one of the things I add at the end is who's your salesperson? Because that salesperson is key to how things went. If everything was done correctly, normally you should be able to get on the phone, make your phone call, collect your invoices, and you're done. If there's a snafu, you need to have the relationship with that salesperson to find out what had happened was, and then so you can get the backstory or get the other missing pieces so that you can go in and fix things. A lot of times when we're dealing with business to business collections, business to government, it isn't just, one person. It's a chain of people, and you got to know the process. Okay, you submit your invoice into what system, who gets it, who signs off, what's required, what do you do if there's an error, what happens if it gets kicked back, how do I fix it, how do I make the corrections, all of these things, all of these details. And that's why I know that AR for a lot of people is very challenging, because it's not sexy, it's not fun, nobody wants to do all this extra work. But hey, you got the sale, and my saying is the sale is not complete until the money's in the bank.
Amen. That's it.
So you gotta whatever it takes to untangle the disconnects of why the sale is not complete on the AR side, accounts receivable side, the collection side. That's your responsibility. So if that means you got to go find the salesperson, y'all got to go get coffee, go get tea, go get a bagel, go get a drink. I don't care what you got to do, figure it out. But you got to build a relationship, because sometimes you can't do it all by yourself. And in business isn't just, solving a problem. Business is relationships. Business is connections. People who know, like, and trust you will help you. Donna can make a phone call and people just hear her voice or just see her name across the screen. They're like, oh, Miss Donna, what do you need? Like me, when I do collections now, business collections, now because I do what I do so well, I can just get on the phone and say, hey, it's Dee. And they're like, Dee, what you need? And because I have expressed gratitude and thanked them for helping me do my stuff in the past, they know that's what sets me apart. People keep telling me, you keep telling this gratitude. Well, I'm telling you personally, I know what works. And, not for bragging points, but let's see. Being featured in Forbes magazine based on what I do also gives me real credentials. Just saying. Just a little thing. Just a little thing.
And then what? The Coast Guard, and then who else is just singing your praises? Howard University, who else?
Yes. Today I was a part of the Women's Leadership Forum at Howard University, talking about relationship currency and why it matters so much.
See, and that's like, absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. And I'm talking about collect the cash. They're talking about all these things, but whether you sell, whether you speak, or you collect money, you have to build relationships. You have to problem solve. You have to have a customer experience. And if the customer experience isn't right, you have to fix it. I just believe that. I mean, you can fix it. One of the companies that we celebrate so much, like the Chick-fil-A's and other companies, why do you celebrate them so much? Because they are focused on problem solving. They figured out
Zappos and shoes.com.
Say it again.
Zappos and shoes.com have some of the best customer service engagement, but the pinnacle of the mountaintop is the Disney Corporation.
Yes.
They know how to value not only the customer, but every single team member.
Yep.
And when I hear people complain about, well, this person isn't doing this or doing that, if you don't get on their good side, their check was written when they showed up and sat in their desk. That's it. They're going to get paid the same amount of money whether they make you smile or they don't. So you need to make them smile so that they talk to you.
Right.
And you can do what you need to do so that you don't get, the box with your plant. And I'm going to remember that.
You get told, you pack up your box, get your plant, and y'all out the door. And it happens. And the thing is, I keep talking about, problem solving, customer service, and gratitude, because everybody who's listening, everybody has had one of those, what had happened was. Everybody's got one of those. The companies that we admire figured out what had happened was there was a problem. We need to come up with a solution. We need to create a better customer experience. And when we find a way to express gratitude, whether you say thank you or whether you just, it's just woven into the fabric, those three things are happen in every business. And the companies that have figured out how to do that really, really well continue to excel. And they continue to create great customer experiences. And they ask for feedback. Why do you think you get a survey? You get a survey because they want to know, okay, what haven't we done really well, and how can we improve on this? And then they want to make the customer experience better, because they know if they fix this, you'll go tell all your friends, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go shop at such and such store, because oh my gosh, when I come in, they got warm chocolate chip cookies, they do this, they do that, they make me feel like a princess, they do this, yada, yada, yada. So, yes. Yep. Can't hear you.
I said, I'm not gone. I'm yelling at somebody right now. I'm like, get the door.
Okay.
But so someone here, Victoria, said, okay, when you're calling a business, how do you get past the gatekeeper?
When you're calling a business,
how do you get past the gatekeeper? Now, I know that in a lot of instances, you're just going to ask for accounts receivable. But you know what? Or accounts payable. But you know that there are some businesses that are blocking. And they're going to tell you all the time, they're not there.
Yeah, there are some people. There are some businesses that are blocking, and so so if you're calling, or first of all, on your invoice or in your contract, usually they tell you submit your invoice to this person or into this inbox, and then you can follow up and ask to speak to that person, or real simple, may I speak with the manager of accounts payable, please?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't want, and like, oh well, is there a problem? No, I just need to speak to the manager, please. And the manager is going to want to know what happened. Why are you asking to speak to me? Well, I'm asking to speak to you because when I called the front desk and they told me that person wasn't here, and I asked them, is there anybody else I can talk to? They kept giving me the runaround. So I figured out, let me see, if I ask to speak to the manager, you're going to take my call, because you're responsible for everything that happens under your jurisdiction in that department. So I'm one of your customers. I need you to talk to me and help me figure out how come I haven't got paid. And I want to work with you. Because here's the thing, it's not just enough to call them. You need to be able to show them that you want to work with them and figure out what happened. Because maybe you made a mistake and maybe you just didn't know. So you take the time to listen, take the notes, do the course correction, and fix it so that you can move forward. I got a perfect example of gatekeepers, mistakes made, and customers being upset. So many years ago, I say this, let me think. Oh, I had hair back then, so I know it was a long time ago. So I used to work for an engineering consulting firm, and I was a contract administrator. So actually, I got my start as a data entry clerk first. Then I served in accounts payable for a year. Then I served as a junior contract administrator. Then I got promoted to be a contract administrator for the construction division. My team was building a water filtration plant up in Hemlock, New York. When I got promoted, there had been a previous administrator that just didn't understand customer service, problem solving, or gratitude, or anything else. So this project sat not being worked, and hundreds of thousands of dollars of invoices sat unpaid because getting on the phone to talk to the city of Rochester, New York, the chief engineer, I give him a call, introduce myself, and he was like, the phone was over here because his boyfriend had a whole lot of choice words that he needed to say about how upset he was with how things were not working. Learning how to get on the phone, problem solve, apologize on behalf of the company, express gratitude for him telling me what was wrong, and then asking him to tell me, what did you want to see? How do you want to fix this so we can fix this and keep moving, or the things that I've done. And so these lessons that you all are learning tonight, it's all about problem solving, customer service, gratitude. Sometimes you really have to be willing to get into the weeds, to untangle what went wrong and fix it. I had to ask this gentleman to give me 30 days to untangle hundreds of thousands of dollars of invoices that sat uncollected. We got it, did the course correction, got it done, got it straight, resubmitted invoices, and eventually all the invoices got paid, and the project went forward, and eventually the water filtration plant actually got built and opened, and that was almost 30 years ago, and now it still exists.
Okay. And see, those are great stories. And there's nothing like success stories. Success stories keep us all motivated. And so it's very important for all of us to realize that it's not always their fault. And please, it is not us against them.
Right.
Okay? Because God willing, you're going to continue to do business with them. And if you don't have that relationship of being a person who is easy to work with, they're going to swipe left and go on to the next name on the list. I'm just going to tell you, because remember, if it's about price, the key differentiator is your service.
Right.
The key differentiator is, are you easy to work with? The main thing that I got out of what Dee has been talking about is, and she's saying it over and over again, 3, 4, 5 different ways, you must listen twice as much as you speak. So that when you open your mouth, it's something that they can't push back on. I absolutely love the way she said, well, I've asked for you because every time I tried to do it the other way, it wasn't working. And I knew that if I went to you, you and I could make it work. And I will tell you that when I have a disconnect with any individual, first way you can tell how upset I am is how low my voice goes. I get very soft because they got to shut up to hear me. I'll just say that. So I just get very soft and very clear and speak a little bit more slowly so that, okay, we're going to make this work. And one of my clients actually told me that she put into one of her presentations, she says, when I work with my coach, no matter what chandelier I'm swinging across, I know that her voice, Donna's going to come and she's going to calm me down and she's going to make me step back and take a look at it, and it's going to work. And that's what Dee does. And then she says, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So show us the book again, Dee, so that everybody knows what they need to get, and tell us how we get it.
This is Collect the Cash. Can y'all see that? Let me see. Let me do it this way. No,
go back to where you were. The sale is not complete until
the money is in the bank.
Booyah. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. And that makes so much sense. So, we all want to get the deals, but we also do want to get paid. All right. That's the whole reason. I've said this 100 times before. Nobody goes in the business to lose money.
Nope.
Okay. And you also have to have a team. I know that we all like to get paid. Oh no, you got to put a deposit down, or you got to pay me up front, or whatever it is. But you must have the team in place. And if you can delegate it to an expert. If you know that this is not your wheelhouse, how many more sales could you make while you ask a Dee to go in there and manage that type of a relationship? Okay, and I'm sure that there are people, if they are smart and they know, they're going to read that book and say, well, I could do that, Dee. I could do that. So Dee's probably going to have some courses coming up pretty soon that's going to help people to do these things.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, there's definitely courses. And here's the thing. Yes, could you go in and collect? Yes. But do you have the ability to problem solve? Because people think about collections this way. They basically think it's dialing for dollars. Let me get on the phone and just dial for dollars. No. Collections, accounts receivable, business to business, business to corporate, and business to government, which is my three lanes of brilliance or expertise. It's problem solving. It's customer service. It's gratitude. It's getting into the weeds. I deal with government agencies that have millions of dollars that sit uncollected for years because most people they're more excited about getting the contract award, doing the services, doing the products. Nobody wants to deal with the back end, which is called contract closeout, which is tying up all the loose ends. That's why hundreds of millions of dollars sit uncollected for years, because nobody wants to deal with that part. It's not sexy, it's not fun, but that's your tax dollars sitting uncollected. That when those contracts are not closed and when the monies are not when the reconciliations are not done, and you don't get that money recovered, so it can be reused again and again and again. That part. It's that part. So where can you get the book? You can go to www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's www.collectthecash.biz/book. You actually get a signed copy from yours truly and a bookmark. Imagine that. You gotta
Imagine that. And you know, the day that she posted that, I bought mine. And it was just funny. She was like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, got mine coming. It ain't here yet, but I got mine coming.
Yep.
Because
the second batch is actually I'm waiting for it. So I'm in pre-sales right now because the official launch of the book is April 20th, 2021. So we're at I am 23 days out to it becoming official, but we're in pre-sales right now. So again, www.collectthecash.biz/book. So
thank you, Victoria. Victoria has posted that for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. So yeah, so the second batch of books are on its way. And so I will be signed.
I wasn't in the first batch.
The second, I didn't say it wasn't in the first batch. You made that assumption. I said the second batch is coming. I'm just letting people know that sales are happening. So of course you're taken care of. Yes, darlings. Oh, yes. So the second batch of books are on their way. They'll be going out next week. And it's an amazing thing. And just, writing a book and deciding to, it wasn't just writing the book. And first of all, let me again say, Donna, thanks for this. It wasn't just writing the book. It was deciding to tell my story. And then as my writing coach said, you want us to win. You want business owners to win. And I'm like, yes, because I don't want to see, if you don't have to lose money, why would you?
Why would you want to write these things off? And I know there are some people like, oh, I'll just have to write that off.
I mean, there are some, but now I'll say this. Now listen, in business, sometimes you do have to take a loss and just cut your losses and do that. My goal with writing Collect the Cash and having these conversations and talking about, the sale is not complete until the money's in the bank, and talking about, tracking your account and following up and doing all those things is so that you don't have to lose money. There are times just like in anything else in life. Sometimes you keep looking at this thing, it keeps going over. And then sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm just going to cut my losses and move on. And sometimes you have to do that, whether it's professionally or personally, in business or not. Sometimes you do. My goal is that if you learn how to track things and pay attention, and if that's not, as Donna said, if that's not your wheelhouse, then you hire, someone like me, or you bring on a team member to teach them how to do this part. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like doing this. I don't want to do this. Fine. Find your lane of brilliance and do that part, and then outsource the rest, and then make sure that you get somebody who's alongside of you to make sure you win. My goal with Collect the Cash is for business owners is to win. I tell my story of me working for a small IT firm, which is why this is near and dear to Donna, is because this was a company that did not manage their AR well. They made great sales, but they did not do well with AR. And unfortunately, I will never know the whole story. All I know is I came to work, I got my box, I was told to go collect this money. I did that part. The CEO said, we're shutting down. And everybody, this was 100 people. We're talking a small business. Lives are turned upside down 2 months before the holiday season. Well, yes, it happened to me years ago, but we just lived through a year where people's businesses were closing. Why do you think there's all these loans? Everybody's what are people scrambling for? Money. Because I'm sure the people that are asking for those loans probably had sales on the books that they could have collected and probably could have increased their cash flow, but I don't want to get to it. It's not that important. Well, that's why you're asking for the loan versus managing your cash flow and taking care of those accounts. Then that part is why this matters so much to me. So you might be like, oh, D, you're a little forceful about that. Well, let's see. Forceful about it? Okay. You can call it what you want to. What I know for sure is this. Sales and accounts receivable go together. I know for sure that if you neglect the back office, your accounts payable, you neglect billing your customers for services that or products you've already provided, you neglect accounts receivable, which is collecting your payments, eventually you're not going to have any money to do anything. So I'm trying to teach you to make sure that the sales are complete and the money's in the bank. What I'm trying to teach you is no different than when you go to a store and you use your debit or your credit card and you swipe the card and you sit there with your fingers going like this, unless your cash flow is really good. You wait for these two magical words, transaction approved. I'm trying to make sure that in your business, you always have transactions approved, AKA the sale is complete and the money's in the bank. I'm telling you, hashtag
transaction approved.
I'm
Yes.
trying to make sure that you win and that you stay solvent, and that if you have people working with you, that you can take care of them, that you can create legacy, and that you can do more things and do more good. But you now that
And you
all
can't
starts.
ask for more than that, D. You just can't ask for more than that. And that is, of course, the reason the reason I do what I do. Because again, I'm all about helping my people to create their own economy and
Mhm.
to be able to make the money that they need, as Dee said, to ensure that you are able to take care of not only yourself, but the people who depend on you. You know how many businesses went toes up, I use toes, went toes up,
Yeah,
and were not able to pay the people who had helped them to build that business in the first place. And
exactly.
for a number of them, it was simply fiscal irresponsibility. Okay, too many business owners go with whatever their perceived expert tells them. That's the reason you have your taxes double checked. I know tons of people take those taxes and give them to a CPA and they find thousands of dollars that H&R Block or whomever it was, forgive me, but whomever the tax preparer was,
Yeah.
did not capture for them. You know, that's the reason you have audits. That's the reason that you have those various things. You cannot live and die by the free workshop. There, I said it. You
Say
cannot
it.
live and
Wait,
die
wait,
by
wait, wait,
the
wait.
free
Say it again
workshop.
for the people in the back. Say it again for the people in the back.
You cannot live and die by the free workshop.
Yep,
There are
that part.
those of us who have been through the fire and we've been the flies on the wall. We have seen where people have made these mistakes. Sometimes you got to spend a little to keep a lot. Quit turning your nose up at investing in your business, whether it's for a financial expert, whether it's for a coach, whether it's for a graphics person who is actually good at what they do, whether it's a tech person that you can find when your site goes down at 1 o'clock in the morning. It needs to be that you value these people and remember that they, like you, are business owners.
Mhm.
Okay? We are not your employees, we are business owners. So be willing to spend the money that you need to spend to be able to provide the services that you long to provide and to protect the people who are busting their butts to help you to make your dream come true.
Yeah.
So that you're not telling them, okay, go to your cube, you got 30 minutes to go and pack your box in your plant. I'm never going to get past that. Pack, pack your box, pack your plant, hit the road, Jack. And just because even though she just brought them, what was it that you had just brought them? How much money had you brought into that firm?
$6 million in 60 days while working part time, Monday through Friday, 4 to 8
Because
p.m.
she had a day job. So she
No,
was at one weekend,
I really when I that story, I was a part-time collector.
and that was
I didn't have a full-time. No, that story was me working part-time for this company, this IT company.
and then having to pack up your box 2 months before Christmas.
Yep. Not just me,
Okay.
100 people. 100 people lost their jobs. And that happened to me years ago, but I'm telling you you know how in life there are these defining moments.
Yes.
That was a defining moment for me because I saw I saw somebody, I went and put my energy into a company that I thought was going to be around. Yeah, I
Mhm.
started off as a part-time person because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. At that point, when I took this job, I needed a job. It's a part-time job. I'm like, cool, this it's a start. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get the training. But when I didn't expect to be out of work in 2 months. I expected to go from being a part-time employee to eventually becoming full-time and having a career. Well, obviously that was not the path that was going to go long term, but I learned a lot in those 60 days. I learned problem solving, customer service, gratitude. I have a story that is true and I lived that story. that story, birthed my career in revenue management and becoming a contract administrator, and now being a published author with Collect the Cash.
And recognized by Forbes.
And recognized by Forbes, exactly.
Booyah. And I don't know how many people they recognize, but I know it can't be many. So
what's interesting about that too is that to get recognized by Forbes, we'll have an article about me in Forbes magazine for collecting money, y'all. Y'all have to understand, I do revenue recovery. I'm talking about, so in corporate, that's accounts receivable. I'm not just, but I'm an accounts receivable person. But the person who wrote the article, with Forbes or for Forbes about me said that I'm a cash collector that recovers outdated accounts, and I'm really good at what I do. And to get recognized by Forbes, we're talking the same magazine that highlights Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, and on and on and on and on. That same magazine, gave me the seal of approval for collecting money and teaching business owners what to do and what not to do.
Now, there's something I want to share for those of us who are following us on Clubhouse. And you're like, well, she's really not on Clubhouse right now. That's the reason we're doing this the way that we're doing it. However, she is on Instagram. And I want you to like Dee, follow Dee. And it's so simple. She picked the perfect name for her page, and it is Dee Collects.
Yep.
That's it. That's who you're going to look for on IG. Dee Collects. If you have trouble finding her, just drop me a DM. I'll make sure that I put the two of you together. She will be more than happy to connect with you and have a conversation. And as you can tell, this person is extremely subdued, tired, and lame. No, she is not. So do you need someone to come in and speak to your professional organization? If you've got a bunch of CPAs on your team, you need to give them a kick in the butt. You need to bring in a talent like this. If you have any type of a platform where you need this type of an expert, you want to connect with Dee. I know she'd be a slamming moderator when we drag her onto Clubhouse. But in the meantime, interview her, meet her, support her, buy the book, buy several copies of the book. Give them to the people in your collection section. Give them to your accounting department. Just, invest in the business even in that way, to let them know that you have an actual commitment to helping them stay employed. Dee, thank you so much for joining me today. Love, love, love being in your space.
I appreciate you, Donna. This has been fun. It's been so much fun doing
Every conversation with you is just so much fun. I can come on as tired as I want to be, and the minute I see that face, it's like, oh yeah, it's on and popping. It's on. So I'm going to have to, I get my second shot on the 4th, and I'm going to be able to get on a plane soon.
Okay.
And you are on the short list of people that I want to come and see. So we're going to make that happen.
Okay.
So ladies and gentlemen, Facebook and Clubhouse, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Remember to get Dee's book. Remember that the sale isn't done until the money is in the bank.
Absolutely. And one more time for the people in the back, go to www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's www.collectthecash.biz/book. And again, Donna, thank you so much to you and to your Clubhouse audience. Thank you all so very much. I'm excited actually to have my first official Clubhouse interview. This is awesome.
Woo! Okay, then. There it is. And cheers to you, darling, and have a good weekend. We like doing this. All right, everybody, have a fabulous weekend. Process this stuff. Listen to the recording. Share this. And let's get the message out. If you make the money, collect the money, and then share the money. Have a great weekend.